All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Planty Face. Okay, today I'm going to do a little update and I'm going to take you through what I'm about to do. Okay, so first of all, this is my desert rose that I grafted. I grafted this a few months ago, and at first I thought the grafting stuck, and I discovered it did not. So let's check it to see. Now I'm going to intervene here because it is winter, but I'm going to intervene because if I don't, the plant might die. So I'm going to take out the top dressing and I'm going to check out the roots. It looks like it's separated. I'm sure it's separated. So here's the plant and I can see it's separated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to salvage the top dressing for another smaller pot. I'm going to use a different top dressing if I replant this, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up the soil, and then let's see if I can pull it out and see what's inside. Okay. All of that soil is still very valuable, good soil, non-disease. So you can see that where I grafted it has turned to shite, but it looks like it's scarred and healed. Okay, so look, right? The plant itself is growing new leaves. It's growing new leaves. Obviously it's cold, so it's kind of dying a little bit, the leaves, but can't feel this one here, I can kind of feel a softness in the root, but I don't think it's a rot. I think it's just lack of water. This one here is a strong looking trunk. This one is looking strong, healthy. The roots look healthy. They don't look rotten. The plants are growing new leaves. Even though it's winter, it's trying to grow new leaves. So it's obviously wanting to survive. So what I'm going to do is, well, the graft didn't stick, and I've been doing a lot of research on them, and it says that just because it's scarred, okay, just because it's scarred doesn't mean it's not going to grow again. The scarring will just heal over, it'll look ugly, but it'll grow again. That's okay. I actually don't care if the plant looks ugly as long as it's growing. The research that I've done is that if you let them run the roots and grow, it'll grow big caudex underground like an iceberg, and it can grow quite tall. So I saw this plant in Hawaii. I was very, very inspired by it because it was in a big pot. No one really cared about the caudex, but the plant was just huge and beautiful and full of flowers. That's what I'm going to go for, okay? If it dies, it dies. But I think it's going to survive. I think it's going to survive. So the pot that I'm going to put it in is this massive pot. Why? I want to put this massive pot so I can leave it there indefinitely and let it just completely take over the pot and grow as big as possible. I don't care about the caudex for this. Let's worry about that later. I really want to salvage this plant, okay? I really want to salvage this plant, and that's my main priority, salvaging this plant. So this one here is touch and go, but I think it will survive. And then the third one, yeah, look, I think it will survive. I think they will live. I think they will live. I'm confident about it. So I'm going to plant them here, all three of them, and just let them go and see what happens. Okay, that's my plan today. So, what am I doing today? Let's get the substrate sorted. It's a big pot. Okay, so I'm going to mix it with, let's see if I fill this up. If I fill this up, yeah, I can almost get there. So I'm going to fill the substrate with a mix of potting mix, pumice, and bark. Okay, so I'm actually going to put a little bark in the bottom. Put that there. Oh. I'm going to put the bark in the bottom already to try and make it so there is maximum drainage. Drainage! You know, from there will be blood. Drainage! Yeah. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And the bark as well, over very, very long time, it'll harbor some beneficial bacteria and stuff like this. And it will start to kind of feed the pot after a very long time. So that's the whole point, right? Just a little bit of bark there. I'm going to put pumice, some potting mix. Now I'm using high quality potting mix, but not desert cacti potting mix. Why? Because I want it to be a little richer than the normal cactus. Okay, so what I've read is that in a lot of countries, they actually put very fertile potting mix into their like black soil or whatever, because they put some more bark for more drainage, more potting mix, more pumice. Yeah, okay, and then let's mix the bejesus out of this. Probably won't be enough, but let's start with that. I also included the old soil because the old soil still has osmocote and fertilizer. So yeah, so this is a do or die moment for this plant. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it inside the house, in my games room, where the temperature stays kind of above 13 degrees to 15 degrees on average during winter, because I don't want it to get too cold. I don't care too much to winter the plant. I don't care about the flowers. I just want it to survive and salvage the plant. I always underestimate how much substrate these pots take. I always, yeah, here you go. It's not even full. Yeah, so that's okay though. A little bit more. What I love about it too is that pumice is so cheap. Pumice is so cheap, and I don't want to put too much bark. More potting mix than bark. And then I'm going to do a top dress on it, because also the potting mix also has pumice in it, actually quite a lot of pumice. So, and there's a label in front of it that actually says it's got osmocote or something. Yeah, anyway, so they've already incorporated osmocote into this potting mix. So okay, so let's sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's a really annoying thing when your grafting project shits the bed. But you know, it is what it is. Oh, god damn. It's still not full. Fucking hell. Okay. It's a little bit more. A little bit more. You have to be careful watering this thing once it's so yeah, so look, it's going to be controversial, this video, because everyone's obsessed with putting desert rose in small tiny pots. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the slight opposite, and I'm going to put it into a big pot and I'm going to let it run. I'm going to let this mofo run. That's what I'm going to do. Before I do that though, let me just wash some top dressing stones and let it drain, okay? Okay, so I've washed the stones. I'm using this kind of substrate for a top dress. They look quite nice. They're colorful, very dark stones with a few light bits in there. This is a local quarry that produces this. So, local quarry that produces that. So, all right, well, let's get replanting. First, I'm gonna have to transfer some back, and then we can, okay. So I want to make it so this one here, which one is the one that's kind of screwed? Actually, they all seem like they're going to survive. So I'm going to be completely honest here, and I'm just going to bury this. Okay, now. I want it sitting higher. Okay, I want it sitting higher. I want it sitting higher. Yep. I'm just making sure that the roots are, I don't want to stab the roots actually, I want to settle them in. But I don't want to bury it too deep that it retains the moisture. Yeah. This one here has a big root system. So and this one here, very rigid stock, but the smallest one. So that one there is going to be the most interesting one. So these are 3 separate plants that I tried to graft together. I saw them do it in Thailand in like videos and stuff, but obviously those were pros. My first attempt, I thought, yeah, I got it. I did not. It screwed up. It screwed up and it did not work, unfortunately. So because there's enough inherent moisture in the soil, I'm not actually going to water this for a very long time. I'm going to let this, I'm not going to compress it too much, but I do want to tighten it. So there will be inherent moisture in the soil that should last it until winter. And what it'll do is that as the surface dries, the roots over the slow winter should try to chase the water, right? So it'll chase the water to the sides, to the bottom. And so in the next 2 months, because it's July, August, 2 months more of winter, it should start growing roots slowly inside, because it's semi-dormant, and then it will, there you go. So might as well, there you go. There you go. And there we go. And then top dressing time. So the beauty about this top dressing is it's actually quite a small stone. So if I want to reuse it as a cactus substrate, I can just mix it within the soil, and actually it becomes part of the soil. I thought it was bigger, but actually if you mix it within the soil, it can actually act as part of the mineral content of the soil. So that's handy, because like I said, I don't know if this will survive, and if it doesn't, then I have to repurpose, I have to repurpose the soil. I don't want to waste it. There's a lot of good soil in here. So then I have to go and figure out what I'm going to do. So, you know, I might save the soil. If it doesn't survive, I might save the soil for a monstera, maybe. So let's put a couple of features on there. There, some pounamu, greenstone, New Zealand pounamu, and I love stones. So let's put it in there. And this looks like a dinosaur egg. Let's just put a dinosaur egg. There we go. There. It's a little decoration. This looks just something to break up the visual. I know some people don't care about that shit, but you know, I don't know. I don't see an issue why you shouldn't try to make stuff look nice, right? Yeah, anyway. There you go. There. Cool, there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just be picky, and I'm going to just free up the sides of the trunk of the desert rose, just to make sure it doesn't retain moisture. I know I'm probably overthinking it, but bottom line is this: why not try your best to there. All right, there you go. And this is my Desert Rose Project 2.0. Let's see which one survives. Let's name them. We've got Gojira. No, not Gojira. What's his name? The big Godzilla with the 3 heads. Ah, God, what's his name? Anyway, I'm going to call that one, 3 heads. And this one here is called Stumpy, and this is called Bent Stumpy. Bent Neck Lady. I'm going to call this Bent Neck Lady, Stumpy, and Godira or something? Godira, the Godzilla with the 3 fucking heads, because it's got 3 heads. That's what I'm going to call it. All right, here we go. Done.